Okay, so I want to greet everyone, of course, and I think we all had a very long vacation, right? Yeah. Okay. So we are going to continue from where we stopped last week. Can someone just give me like what what you learned last week? What are you what do you have any anticipation or anything? Because we touched something critical, very interesting last week. Because we begin to look at the core of web application, what drives it, what makes a web application a movable thing, an actionable thing, which is using JavaScript. Right. So can someone just tell me, just like you have something to share from last week? Or maybe there are some other things you've also begin to explore, that you have found quite interesting. So I need to talk for like 2 minutes. You want to start?
So I think I can go first, sir.
Yeah, you can proceed, please.
Okay, so yeah, last week we learned about the we learned about JavaScript, which is more of like the programming language that has to do with how um the website actually reacts, right? Apart from the HTML, CSS, the HTML is how the page looks like, and CSS, which is the styling of it. JavaScript actually works um, as a back end, and not really back end, but most like when you're trying to put an action to a page to make it responsive and interactive to user that is working or trying to access it. And from what we learned, you showed us the first thing you showed was the DOM manipulation, right? Whereby you try to just to show us the overview of what we're going to use the JavaScript for, which when you try to toggle on click, right? When you click on the button, it actually brings a light bulb, and when you click out, it actually brings the dark bulb. So it's just the responsiveness of and the action that is being done on the web page. And afterwards, we learned about the rudiments of the programming language, which we're going to use the JavaScript, about the variables, whereby variable actually has to do with where you store data,
Mm.
right? And how you declare it on um, using the syntax for JavaScript, right?
Mm.
We use probably let x equals something, let y equals something, and you actually did some calculation on how you can get probably a two variable added together to give you a particular total amount. And also you will explain about assembly language, which is the programming of the system itself, how you get to store memory locations in the assembly language format, and you explain how it actually relates to the JavaScript that we're actually using for this particular course. I think those are just few things I can mention at the moment.
All right. Fantastic. Thank you very much. Thank you. That was good. All right. Who else wants to share something? I think you just gave an overview of everything we did last week. Thank you very much. Who also wants to try? How we proceed today?
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, evening.
Okay. Um, One thing I took from last week's class was that the JS is placed at the end of the body tag
Okay, why is that?
because the code runs from top to bottom. So when it is that's when it is accessed on the web. So it actually runs from top to bottom. That's why it's actually placed at the end of the body, and because it can be bulky sometimes.
All right, that's a good one. Is that all? I think you learned something. That's a good one. Who else wants to try? I think you guys tried. Done, done well. Okay, so let's continue. Hmm. So, okay, I was just trying to do something, putting some things in place. And- Okay, so guys, so we started JavaScript last week, right? Explained the essence for JavaScript. JavaScript is added to a website to be able to manipulate it, you know. For example, a website is ordinary without JavaScript. All your tags are just static. You know, I said an object is in a state of inertia except an external force comes upon it. Yeah, and an object is in a state of inertia, and we look at the law of motion. Yeah, that everything is in a state until something acts upon it. So the process of acting upon an object. So your HTML is a tag object, it's an object. Your paragraph tag, your image, you know, everything is just as they are. It's just like when man was formed, and it was just there, and there is no breath. So it was until when breath come into the man that the man could be animated. He can have sense to say he want to go somewhere, he want because all his senses are alive because of the breath. So that infusion of that breath is the way JavaScript is to your HTML, your website. You get. So the behavior of your website, how you want it to behave. You want to behave like a cat, like a dog, like a car. It's up to you. It depends on what you infuse into it. There you get. So, and we started with declaration, how we declare it. We declare it at the bottom, but now I will now take it a step further. Okay, you remember this body, right? So let me upscale it so that it looks like a better work. Which person's work should I look at? Is it Tunji that did that? No, 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 not Tunji. Let me look at Kate's work. Oh, no, no, was it Bridget? Let me check Bridget. Is it Bridget work you are checking for? Yeah, it was Bridget's work. So let me copy Bridget's work. We'll continue to reuse it so that we have a context. All right, guys, please pay close attention and ask question, please. If you because if you miss it. It's very difficult to catch up. So don't miss anything. Or if anything is uh, not clear, you have to shout and say, "Alas, alas, you're doing something here that's scary." All right, all right. So are using you see the same thing we're doing. We are using pages work. Okay, so I'll refresh. So this is the one. Okay, okay. All our pictures are not here. So all this trouble again. All this trouble, all this trouble, all this trouble, all this trouble. So this thing you guys must learn to do all this thing. Copy and paste, drag this and that. When something is broken or working, The more you practice, the more you learn, the more you, if something is still wrong. There's Casala somewhere. Am I ready to start troubleshooting this? Yeah. Okay. It's by blah, 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 blah. No. What is that? Eh? Hey, you get it. Hey, are you guys with me? Hope I'm not the only one here.
Yeah, with you, sir.
Okay. Bridget, where did you hide all your pictures? Is Bridget on the call? I'm getting confused here. Okay. Okay. This is a picture. This is a picture loading. Hairstyle. Hey, my God. Hello, Bridget. Bridget, you went to save all of your pictures as HTML. Hmm? When you come online, you talk. Okay, let's take it out. Let's take it like that first, yes, so that you can have breathing space and all right. You see we are fine. So another point of thing is as con- based on convention, we uh your first HTML, your own page for your HTML, the landing page, it should be called index. It should be called index. So that when you visit something like facebook.com, anything.com, it automatically reads the index. Do you get? It takes it at the landing page. So whenever you are creating a landing page, like I mean the first landing page is the first page that appears on your website. We call it index.html. Do you get? So every other one can now be contact us.html, about us.html. So learn naming convention, right? How to name your file. You have to be ordered, how to put, this one now. I can't start doing this trouble. You have to put your image differently, put your CSS file differently. That's what I taught you guys. So, okay, so this is our website. This is our website. You can see. You agree with me that you see, normally when you have not learned anything, you think that, how did you write this kind of thing? You could just see that you yourself could see that you could recreate something like this. And I know you will not have imagined that you could do something like this when you started. So now, this is how far you've come. And this is our script, right? This is our script. This is our script. This is our script. So now, also just like we did in uh CSS, it is not good to put your script in the HTML page. Let's create the file for our JavaScript apart. Are you getting me? So let's see how to do that. First of all, create a folder so that you are well ordered in your just the same way we did for CSS. I think you remember. I call it JS. To keep my JavaScript file. Sometimes there can be more than one. So then create a new file. Save as my JS. Don't forget .js. I call it my file name, my JS. That's the extension. I think I've told you that about the extension. Then you can copy this out and then. So now the question: can I reference my JS side here? That should be the next question. So let's look at the code. How to ref JavaScript file in HTML. Yes, I know it, but I can't cram. I don't cram things, so don't cram anything. Everything from Google. The day Google shut down, everybody will not have developers that day. But everybody get their code from Google. You see, path, you see, .js. So what's my path? Who can tell me? Who can see the path to your JavaScript? So now in this, where's my path to my JavaScript path?
Good evening, sir. Is it the formal code you copy to this one, sir? Or we can
No.
copy this?
This guy, this is my new JavaScript file now.
Yes, we have created that.
How do I reference it here? Okay, my JavaScript file is under JS folder. Wait. Since I've scattered something, do not see it here. Yeah. Shouldn't be there. So my JavaScript file is inside JS folder, right? So now, how can I now this? I've moved my JavaScript code here into my JS file. So how do I reference it here? Want to tell me? Because now what I'm doing now is, remember in CSS, you do link to the CSS file, right? So that you can be doing your CSS file in another CSS work in another file without messing up your HTML here. So anything you do here, it reflects on this. Since you're accessing it. Now, this is the way to access my JavaScript file. Right. So how do I reference the paths to the JavaScript? Who wants to go? This is
So what did you say?
this is my path here. My question is, what do we put here in the path to your JavaScript file? How do I reference my JS.js? How do I reference it?
Good evening, sir. Hello, can you hear me, sir?
Yes, you can go on.
Okay, so to get the path for that JS script, I think where we saved the that .js file to in our laptop, if we go to properties, yes, here, if we go to properties, we should be able to get the path and copy it, then fit it where it's into the source where we have the script source equal to that path. Copy the
Okay.
path from here. Yes, sir.
Okay, no problem. Okay, you know what? Let me just tell you guys. You guys need to learn this thing very well, or else it's going to mess you up. You see, this is it. I'm accessing it from JS folder and picking the my JS.js file. That's it. Why am I picking from JS folder directly? Because JS folder is in the same path with index.js. This is my HTML file. This JS folder, that's where my JS is. So it's just like I'm entering this room to pick out this guy. So I'm entering JS room to pick out my JS.js. So is it clear now?
Yes, sir.
Sir, please come again, sir. Please, sir.
Okay. Now I want to reference my bottom line. I want to be able to ensure that my JS file, this guy, this is where I saved it. I saved it under JS folder. This is a directory folder. This is my JS file. This is the guy that I want to include in my index.html. This is my HTML page. So I need to be able to include it. So how to include it is reference JS folder, then the JS file. You get. So why I did that is because I'm referencing JS folder first. Because I'm looking for something. It's just like, when you put a pencil in a textbook, what will you open first to access the pencil? Hello, are you guys following?
Yes, you open the place where you place the pencil in the book.
You open the textbook,
cover.
right?
Yes.
It's the same thing we are doing here. So I want you guys to see it. There's nothing spooky about it. There's nothing extraordinary about it. That's why I taught you first your basic. So if the foundation is not properly laid, if you did not get anything clear, go back to the basic because it will become a problem. You will not be able to get it right. I knew how to iron out the foundation. I took you guys through file structures on the computer, how to access what is a folder, a directory, a file. A file, you guys know, okay, remember when you carry some files in a folder, remember in your school days, you put many things into a folder, and you are taking it everywhere to go and submit. It's the same thing how computer works, your desktop works. So I'm looking for something. Where is it? It is in this folder. Okay, in this folder, what is the file? We now bring out the file. Okay, your library file, you want to submit it. Your this assignment, you want to submit it. Just the same thing. So because index is where my HTML file is, and I want to access my JS file, this JS file in this so that I don't want to be writing all JavaScript in this place. That's it. I want to separate it. That's the conversion, standard conversion. I want to write my JavaScript here. But anything I write here, it can be affecting this HTML here. It can run from here. That's just what I try to do. So I try to just say, okay, access it. This is the folder up here. And my JS.js file right here. So I now said, okay, if I want to access it, I will JS folder, my JS.js. Now, what about, I want someone to tell me, what about if this file, let me copy it. Assuming is right here. Do you see that I've copied the JS where the index.html is? If I want to reference this directly, how do I reference it? Who can tell me? So what would you like to do?
Okay, sir. It will now be the container, which is web to be
Look at
web.js
this.
slash.
Look at my file. My JS.js is in the same part where index.html is. And this is what this one is this guy I want to reference here in this script as script source. How do I access it?
I
So
think
I
you
don't need to
just
go to
use
JS.
my JS.js.
Okay. Who agrees to that?
I agree, sir.
Okay. So it's just it. So instead of going there, I just say my JS.js. Simple. It's just understanding paths and directories. Do you understand? Where did you keep this thing? Okay, I'm looking for it inside this folder. Inside this folder, look for this file. So now this is not what I'm doing because I don't want to do a dirty job. So I will delete this one. This is not what I'm working with. Deleting it.
Yes, sir, I
So
don't
this is what I'm
understand that aspect. Like, how do we now locate the index dot? You said the JS, the my JS.js is in the same path as the index. So if we now change it to that my JS.js, how do we now locate the index? I actually don't understand that part.
Your index is your HTML file. It's your HTML page. Just Like you say, the website name, it's just your website name, your website path. There's nothing special about index. Index is what you are opening, loading at the website. Did you get that? No, you didn't get it. Okay, can you repeat your question again, Sarah?
Okay, what I'm saying is that you said if like you said my JS has the JS file is in the same part. So it's like are you saying that it is no longer inside the JS folder? Like it is
Yes,
now.
I assume I was just trying to do like a reverse engineering just to change it,
Okay.
you
Okay, so
know,
does it now
just
mean
explain path.
okay. Okay, so which means we'll now remove the JS. So JS will no longer be part of it. It should just be my JS.js only, right?
Yes, yes, yes. Now,
Okay, sir.
the reason I'm teaching you is let me open a sample project to you. Maybe you guys will understand. Because if you begin to meet up with some particular project, right, you know, it can be trouble. Might not, and I don't want you to have that. Sometimes it will only you know it, but you don't know if you don't know structures, it can trouble you. Okay, let's look at it. Okay, you see, this is a web app project. Now, all of the CSS and the JavaScript is placed inside the assets folder. This is the asset folder. Can you see image, CSS, font, JS? If you open the JavaScript, you can see a lot of JavaScript. Inside it, you see some folder that carries some particular JavaScript as well. So this is exactly what I'm talking about. So that when you are doing your work, you could be able to say that this is CSS folder that has CSS scripts. This is for image. This one stores all my image. Do you get? So this example, this is how a project will look like for you. You put stuff, you can have things folder inside folder and have your CSS inside one folder. So you have to be able to know a naming convention so that when you are referencing your file, you can be able to know that, okay, I'm referencing this CSS file from this folder and from that folder because they belong to the same path. There are instances where your HTML is not the same path with your folder. The folder is before the HTML. There's a way you can be able to do reverse. You can backward reference. You can do a backward reference, but I don't want to, worry us too much on that. I don't want to make it too complex, but just need to hammer on that, on this little aspects for you to understand parts. You get so this is understanding of parts. I think we're all aligned. So now let's come to this. Let me see if my stuff is connected. Okay, now very good. So the next point is let me send this to us so that you can begin to use it to work. Let me send it to you on the chat. So you can pick it on the chat. This is for the HTML. This is for the JavaScript. So you can figure it out by yourself. Have you gotten it? You can all get it in the chat so that you can follow me what I'm doing. But please pay attention, please. Okay, so now, okay. Did you remember what I taught you guys last week about variable? Do you guys still remember? Who can tell me what is a variable? What is variable used for?
That variable is used to store data.
Okay, store data. All right, very good. Good. That's enough. And I told you that JavaScript can store variables because those variables, when you store a variable, they are allocated in a temporary space. That temporary space is RAM, random access memory. It is available on a runtime. It means it's only when you are running a program it is available. So if your website is not running on a browser, then there's no allocation of space. So RAM comes into place when a variable is stored in the RAM, when you are running executing like an application or things like that. That's what sometimes makes your phone to start becoming slow because it's begin to receive a runtime load. Do you get? So variable is used to store data. So we are going to be in this class. We'll be looking at data type. I know that everybody has been quiet. We are already getting into the serious work. So pay attention, right? And don't lose focus. So variable is used to store data. And the reason is that I highlighted some instances last week. Okay, let's look at, we'll be looking at algorithm too. Let me explain an algorithm for you. Like the algorithm, let me tell you a story of how transaction is done in a plain man terms. Like you want to transfer something, you want to transfer the money from your bank account. So what is going to happen first? I want to transfer 10,000 from my account to Sarah's account. So what's going to be the first thing I will do? Enter Sarah's account, right? When I enter Sarah's account, what will be the first thing that will happen? Validate Sarah's account. I want to check if the account number with her bank details is active. Just like OPay, that's when it brings the owner of the account. So that stage is a validating stage. So I validate your account based on the bank, based on API. We'll talk about that later. You learn APIs later. So the next thing is enter your amount. I want to send 10,000 naira to Sarah, right? And I have 7,000 naira in my bank account. There you get. So at that time, the app has loaded my 7,000 account balance into a variable because I'm using it on a runtime, meaning the application is running. So because I said I want to transfer, I've selected a validated Sarah's account. It has stored my own account balance account, balance in my account at 7,000. So the instant I say 10,000, some intelligent application, as you are entering that 10, it will begin to highlight red. I know you cannot, but there are some old app that is until when I say submit transfer, it will do some validation. Then it will now do what? It will now do some logic to check if the transfer amount, the 10,000 transfer amount, is greater than the account balance in the account, which is stored in a variable. What will you do? It will say that throw an error. No, you have insufficient balance. What I've just highlighted to you is very simple algorithm to process a transfer. Do you get? So if somebody says that, tell you that, oh, I want to create an app and I want it to do this, I want to be able to transfer money from year to year. This is the way you think, this is the way you process it. You are processing it from what I've just spoken about. Okay, what should I do first? Okay, my account balance. What is holding my account balance? Right. Also, your imputed money, where you want to the money you want to transfer, something is also holding it. So that at the end of the day, you are not able to do mathematical logic. So that instances where I say, if the way I'm transferring money to the money I want to transfer is more than my account balance, it should not show a message. So that's how a program works. Logic, mathematical. So JavaScript can process, a program language can process arithmetic operations. Do you get? So just like I'm processing y plus z, what is y plus z doing? Y has the value 20, z has the value 30. Then y plus z is what? It will calculate it. Arithmetic. It understands that, okay, let me do arithmetic calculation. It gives us a result of 50. Now, there is something we use to troubleshoot. We call it console.log, this is when you now begin to need your console inspection. Remember inspection, right click, come to inspection, then come to console. So console, instead of me using alert to show messages, so console is just to print. Maybe I'm doing some work and I want to see the output I'm getting. So I can be printing it on my console, right? So I can say something, I can do something like, so we use console.log, and I said, X, it means it's going to activate it. I can do something like this also. I can say this is uh, buyer's money. Bam, bam. Then I put something like plus. I will explain it. Then if I refresh, do you see? This is the active. So alternatively, I would have done something like this. Alert. Alert is to show a message. Can you see? So, but I can't be using this one every time. Make my work cause trouble. It's not trouble. I want to be doing a real-time test. Let it be printed to my console so that it makes my work easier. So sometimes when you are troubleshooting, trying to get an expected outcome, you use console.log. So you see, this is Mr. Type. So what we do right here is, this is a string, which is going to lead us to what I want to teach us today. A string plus the value of X. So we're able to join, this is Mr. Tayo's money, plus X, the value of X. You could see that it just gives us, this is Mr. Tayo's money, and then it puts 50 here. Now let us go to data type. So we have, in programming language, not limited to JavaScript, we have several data types, right? Number one, we have the one that is called string. 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 String is a test of characters enclosed with quotes. So this is what I've done here. This is example of a string. You know, I would likewise have said something like this. Message. What I've done is similar to this. Then I say message plus X. What I've done is similar. Can you see it's the same thing we are achieving? Let me explain. So now, the first thing here is a string is a test of character enclosed in code. So the character can consist of numbers, can consist of alphabets. Do you understand? Can consist of symbols or anything. So that's why. So this is a string. It is in quotes, into quotes. So when I do that, the computer recognizes as something like letters, alphabet, alphanumeric. We call it alphanumeric. We have a data type called number. You know number, 1, 2, 0, -1, -2, 10. Any negative and positive integer falls under number. Now, under number, we also have decimals. We have decimals, right? We have decimals and things like that. And we have, leave this one. We have something called boolean. Boolean is to represent true or false. True, false. There are some instances that some things are representing true or they are false, right? There's another one called object. I will not bother you with that, but when we come there, where we begin to look at array, how array are formed, key and value, don't trouble yourself with that. Undefined, okay, undefined is when something cannot be recognized. Null means something has nothing in it. There are data type called date time. Date time is used to represent dates. All right. So why are we teaching this? Why am I in your mind? The satire is convincing you. I'm not convincing you. The computer, everything you give the computer to process, the computer you must instruct. The computer has a way of understanding things, right? So now, for example, when the computer is seeing, for example, if I say 20.5.8, and this is 30.1, yes, it's recognized as number, but the computer will calculate it. It's a decimal number, right? If I calculate it, Like, come here. Do you see the calculation? Do you see what it did for me? The total here is 950.900000006. Yes, sir. It's floated my number. Floated it. So now that's, likewise, I can say instead of plus, I can say multiply. I use asterisk for multiply. So all mathematical symbols, you see, it multiplied is 626.08. Right. Okay. So now the computer, when there are some instances like okay, how many of you have seen some instances like okay, you want to transfer money, right? And then it now asks you, please confirm if you want to transfer. Please confirm if you are transferring. What I'm transferring is this value. Let me say what is X value here. So if I refresh, please confirm if you are transferring. But I'm trying to use this to paint a picture in your mind. You've seen that in your mobile app before? Like when you're trying to transfer money in OP and it asks you for a second confirmation that before you proceed, that confirm you are trying to transfer this and this amount. How many of you have seen that before? In one of the
Yes, sir.
banking app. All right.
Yes, sir.
So now the way,
Especially
so
with
a
a
way
new
of
account that you have not been trying.
very good, very good. Yeah. So now, where do we use string? String is for character. It's for combination of alphanumeric. Is to when you want to communicate a kind of message. For example, this is a message. Let me come here. Great hairstyle comes from an expert. This is a string. I can allow JavaScript to be the one to write this here. Do you get? I can allow JavaScript to be the one to write. I can allow JavaScript to be the one to write it. So all of these things you are seeing here, they are all called strings. The computer recognizes them as string. So how we represent them in JavaScript is we quote them up. In other programming language like Java, Python, and PHP is the same thing. PHP also recognizes what is called string. Now, the difference between JavaScript and all of those ones is that in other programming language, you would define that variable as string, and you would define integers as an integer. But JavaScript is very weak. Do you get? So it's very weak. It's very weak. So you need to be able to understand how you are able to apply stuff, apply values to your variables, and know how to use them. For example, if I mistakenly remove y times z, if I say y times pre-message, if I multiply y and pre-message, what is it going to give me? Let's look at it. Now, do you see? What's this? This should be the value of x, right? What did you get here? Can anyone just pronounce this?
Please confirm if you are. Oh, I'm no longer seeing it.
Please, who can see my screen?
Yes, I can see it now.
Yes, sir. I
Please
can see your
confirm
screen, sir.
if you are transferring.
What is this?
None.
Saying please confirm if you are
Oh.
transferring.
So
No.
why? Who can tell me why do we have none? We're having none because we are trying to multiply a number and an alphabet. Is it possible? It's just like you are saying 20 times y or 20 times tayo. What's the meaning of that? Do you get?
It's 20 times, sir.
Just the same way, just the same way arithmetically, you cannot start saying that you want to multiply a number and an alphabet together. is the computer also see that. I can also go as well as, if I want to divide, if I say divide, y divided by 3, message. I refresh. Give me none. None means I can't understand. That's what I was saying. They said, this one, I don't understand. This is an invalid center, invalid attribute. But what about if I do this? Plus, let's look at what it will give us now. Can you see this? Why is it giving us this?
No. Where is it? Okay. Okay, if you're transferring. Oh.
Who can crash it out? Why is it giving us this? I use multiply 20 by the message. It's not it giving us now, meaning invalid. I divided, and because arithmetically it's not possible. If I minus, so arithmetically it's not possible. But when I use plus, it's doing something, it's appending the pre-message to the front of 20.8, which is the value for y. Why is it doing that?
Sorry, can I go, sir? It's actually performing a concatenation, like putting it together. It's concatenate it together.
Okay.
That's what the plus does.
All right. Tunji, have you learned JavaScript before?
I think so, sir, but not really much.
You already did. All right. Because when I hear you use that word concatenation, I know that anybody that use that word is not a newbie. Right. Okay. So the plus sign, beyond doing mathematical addition, it is used to join things together. That is what I did here. This plus here. So in a nutshell, you can, okay. So in a nutshell, you can be able to join if JavaScript sees that you are trying to do a string plus a number, it will process it. It will interpret it as you want to join them together. It will not add them arithmetically. But if it sees two numbers, you are trying to process two numbers, right? It's going to calculate it. But if it sees that what you are trying to do is concatenate plus a string or a string plus, that's the same thing I did here now. You guys did not catch the trick. This is a string plus a number. The result here, x is number. It did what? Concatenate it. We call it concatenation. It means joining of string together with another, maybe be it number or another variable. Right. So, is this clear? Data type. Now, why do we use data type? I've explained it to us. Data type helps to be able to know, to instruct, to determine what you're operating or what you're operating, and to be able to figure things out in a clear terms. For example, just like I said, you can have a variable as date. Example, I can bring an example of that. Let me say something like this. D. Okay. Let me try. Let's just begin. Don't worry, it's going to be boring. No, it's going to be boring for a while because we need to get it right. The date is not defined. Showing me some error. Okay, can you see something here? Tuesday, April 7, blah, 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 blah. this data is a date. So when this is called function, so that will lead us to the next thing that we need to learn. I don't know. I hope you guys are getting this thing. Hey, God help us. Okay. Okay, we will take it a step at a time. We won't rush it. Okay, I've already explained operator, mathematical operations and things like that. I've explained all of these ones. So there's something called function. Function. I'm looking for the way to explain. So let me go theoretical. Let me go logical for a while, for like 5 minutes. Okay. Okay, so who can tell me, who can describe a part of a car, of a full functional car? Like, what and what makes a car a car? Who can tell me? Yeah, there are many things that make a car, you know. You can have the engine and you might not have the full light. We can't call it a complete car. Now, I want each and every one of us to pick up. Just tell me what makes a car a car. Something that you can identify with a car. Hello, is anybody there?
Yes, sir.
Engine.
Can you repeat?
Yes, start now.
The engine.
Okay, and what does the engine do? So you mentioned a component and what it does.
Sir?
You mention a component and tell us what it does.
Okay, the engine is more like the life in the car actually. So without the engine, the vehicle cannot start. No matter how much you try to switch it on using the car keys or whatever means by which you start the car, it won't come on because it's more like it's life source for the car.
Okay, so what actions on the engine is your ignition, right?
Yes, sir.
When you're trying to ignite the car. All right, just keep that. That's yours. Just keep that. So we want to go next.
The
We're going to
tires,
do this.
sir. The tires.
Oh, okay. Also, the tire is also a component that what does it function?
Without the tire, there will be no movement actually. Sorry.
Okay, so the tire is to aid movement. So if the tire
Yes,
gets
to aid
flat. So
movement and transport.
what calls up to make the tire to be able to roll? What engages the tire to be able to make the car to move?
Maybe the steering. Or abi? Is it
Is the gear. Is
okay?
the gear when you
Okay.
put it to drive. Some other
Okay.
things. So for Sarah, you want to kickstart the car. You want the engine to run, for the car to come alive, you ignite it with the key in the ignition engine. Then for the car to move, according to faith, for the tire to be functional to move the car, you must engage the gear. The gear is the one that you pull up, in order for the car to be mobile, to be able to move. So who is the next person? The fast, so guys. Please.
Like you off, you can't change your times. It gives you a low experience. You can't look down, you can't look left.
Hello.
Okay, good evening, sir. Okay, the steering and the gear
Okay.
for
Okay.
direction.
Uh, uh,
For
okay,
direction.
for direction. Okay, the steering and the gears for direction. Okay, very good. So that is for the function direction. The function of starting or initiating the car. That's the engine, ignition. Movability function to make it movable, mobile. That is the gear and the tire. And then for direction, for navigation, you need the steering and you also need the gear. That's a very good one. Okay, so that we don't waste much of our time. Right. That's a very good one. So the next thing. So now, based on that, I want to teach us something. Hmm? So when you are designing a web app, sometimes your web app is functioning like a car. Are you getting me? It's doing a lot of things at the same time. So based on multiple things it's doing, it makes us to now break it into what is called function. So just like a car has multiple functions. There's a function of the engine, there's a function of the gear, there's a function of the tire, there's a function of the steering, there's a function of each of those functions is achieving an aim and objective, right? So based on that, when you are designing a website, you're writing a JavaScript. We used to write what it called, there's something we write, we call it function. Just like the human part, there's a function for sight, there's a function to make your body to be, as I'm talking, to make me to talk. There's a function to make me to move around. Do you get? So it's the same thing. So, for example, let's look at like a banking application now. There's a function, like I said, I want to transfer money to Sarah's account. There's a function that allows me to validate if the account is correct. There's another function that helps me to validate if where I'm transferring the money to, I have sufficient balance to carry out that activity. You get? So these things are what okay, our time is up. All right. So now let me just bring you into it so that you can go and learn by yourself. So what example should we use? Should we continue using our banking app as an explanation? Would that be easier for us to catch?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Since everybody use the same
All
app.
right, so let's do this. So now, what I'm trying to say is this: we can have now. You see, don't it's going to it's boring because later on we'll be tying the JavaScript to interact with what we have on this HTML here. We'll be coming to that. But let's do the core programming first. So what I'm talking about function before is something like this: function, uh, check, uh, validate account. This is how to write a function. I can write another function called function transfer. I can say validate uh validate. Let me just call it transfer fund. Pam, pam. You get? So validate account. So this is how to write a function. So this function is to validate Sarah's account. This one is to transfer funds. Right. So let's start with this one. Validate account. Okay. So now I want to transfer money to Sarah account, right? Let me delete all of this one. Then I start with variable my account balance equals to, let me say 50,000. Let me say 50,000. Validate account. For example, from to validate account, I want it to be that variable transfer account. Then I come here to say that if is not equals to zero. No, it's not equals to 01, 01, 01. Then it's something alert. Incorrect. Then I will say I'm doing multiple things at the same time so that it will be a task for you to go and learn so that you can ask questions on the group. Else, transfer fund. Invoke this one. Invoke this guy. Transfer fund. So what will this one transfer? I'm going to validate account and the okay, and the amount. Transfer amount. I cannot if this, then I can also say if transfer amount is greater than my account balance now. Then also give an alert message. Sorry, we have insufficient balance. At all, if all of these criteria, all of these validations have been met, I'll now say transfer fund. So what will fund do? Let me say transfer. I'll now say transfer fund. I'll now say my account balance. Account balance equals to account balance. I know. I'm sure people will have to wonder where is Mr. Tayo, where is it taking off to like this? Eh? Then alert. Transfer. Success. New account balance is blocked. This. I can comment this out. So now, if I want to initiate what I'm trying to do here, I'll just come here and say, validate account to do what I will call for. What is the amount I'm transferring? Account number. Let me see this. Let me run my code. Can you see incorrect account? That's first error it takes. Change the right account. See what it transfer successful. No account balance is 20,000. It means successfully transfer this 30,000 error. And then it now says account balance 50,000 minus 30,000. So the new account balance is now 20,000 naira. So that has given me 20,000 naira. I know all of you are like, what am I doing here? How many people is wondering that what is happening here? Eh? That have I trained people to the
I'm
ocean
lost
or
here.
what? Okay, let me explain.
But I
So
got,
the first one is
sir, I kind of get it a little
Eh,
because I
I know,
I
I
did
know,
a
I know.
little of Python, so kind of
Oh,
get
okay,
it
okay.
small, but I'm
I
I'm
know.
still lost anyway.
All right, let me explain to you. I declared four things, right? The first thing is I declared a variable storing my account balance, 50,000. You guys should understand that. And then I called another variable called 30,000, which is amount I want to transfer, 30,000 naira. Let me just say I'm storing it, 30,000 is what I want to transfer. Then and I wrote two functions. This is the first function, validate account and transfer funds. I'm now taking beyond this class. So under the function validate account, it will be the first thing. This is I'm using this one to initiate this function. It means I'm calling this function. So this validate account here that I put here is the key ignition for my car. So like if I don't put this validate account here, nothing is going to run. It's just like you are starting your car and your battery is not connected. Look at it. Do you see anything? Nothing is running. Nothing. It just looks as if it doesn't recognize all what you've done. So until when I say validate account, it means I'm initiating one of the I'm initiating I can do it like this. Transfer funds. If I put it here. Transfer funds. I put transfer funds directly and I refresh it. You see, it runs it. So, but that is not the function I want to run. The first function I want to run is this validate account. And after it, validate account should receive a variable, a value for the account number. That's why I call it transfer account. Is a variable you should receive. So that is this one is the value. So I will be the one to supply it here. So now, and I said I use something called if and else statement. So go and read ahead of it because that's what will be going into the second class. That's why I am doing this for you. So what I'm trying to do here is that, if transfer account, this guy that is here is not the same thing with what I input, like what account number of Sarah that I input, we should respond incorrect account. That's what I just did. And if else is a statement. If transfer amount is greater than account balance, it means transfer amount 30,000 is greater than 50,000. It should not be, it says respond at insufficient balance. And else, if it does not, if the statement, if all of them pass, then execute this net function, which will deduct my account and then tell me that my account balance is successful and update my new account balance. So that is what we have done here. So now I want you to go and use your head to crack this coconut, what I've explained to you, so that you will learn ahead of the class. Anything you don't understand, bring it up on the group. So I'm giving you a task. So I've copied the JavaScript file to you in this chat, copy it out and keep it. Do you get? Use it for yourself. So let's take it to the WhatsApp group. My time is far.
Please, I have a question.
All right, what's the question?
Yes. The amount you put where you have that VAR my account balance. Why did you put comma in the 50,000, like 50 comma? Is it not allowed
It will not recognize it. It will not recognize
Okay,
it.
sir.
It's not. You are not doing Microsoft Word here, or you are not doing your normal distance. The computer will flag it. It doesn't recognize your comma. It's seeing your comma as a character. It's not recognizing it as your. No, it's not recognizing. It will misunderstand that input. It will take it as something else. You get. So this is a very simple program, and I've used it to explain how to run function. And I've started using a statement, something you are not familiar with. If and else statement, right? If and else statement is used to apply logic, and then we use an arithmetic operation, to do some definitions there. So I know it's somehow in your head, but please go back, digest it. You can copy this code, paste it on ChatGPT and tell him, explain this to me like a 10 years old. So now I don't use ChatGPT for getting code, source code, but you can use it to explain things to you so that you understand things better. You know why my ChatGPT is not running? Okay. Let's see. Explain this. Yes. So you don't need to be looking for data up and down. You can run this thing on ChatGPT. Just tell it to explain it to you. So have you copied the code from the chat, from the chat box?
Yes,
Sir,
sir.
please, can you help us paste it on the WhatsApp group, sir? Okay. Just in case after this, so that we don't miss it. Oh,
Okay.
thank you, sir.
Sorry, sir. I want to ask something. Regarding this
Okay.
SE. Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah.
Hello, sir.
And with you can speak, please.
Okay. Yeah, regarding the SE, I want to ask. I normally see Elif. I don't know, maybe that would be possible to use here instead of using SE. Elif, like ELIF, or it's just
Yeah,
SE
I wanted
in
to I
JavaScript.
wanted to ask too, but it's okay.
Please let's take other things to our question to the WhatsApp, please. I'm already into a meeting. You get. All right, guys, please. All right, so let's take it up in the WhatsApp, please. In the WhatsApp. Thank you.